Hi, I'm Nancy Plants. Welcome to another video. Today I'm using up some more of those oyster mushrooms that I've been foraging to make a vegan Philly cheesesteak-like sandwich. I've actually don't think I've ever had a real Philly cheesesteak, so this is probably not authentic, so don't come for me. This is just kind of a steak-like cheesy-like sandwich that's delicious, made from mushrooms. So what I'm starting with here are some oyster mushrooms that I foraged. Obviously, if you don't know how to forage for mushrooms or you don't have access to oyster mushrooms at the store, you could probably substitute with any kind of mushroom that you have on hand. It would just be a little different in texture, but the technique would be the same. So what I'm doing here is tearing up these mushrooms a little, the bigger pieces, so that they're all roughly about the same size. Because as you can see, I got some little ones and big ones all on the same piece of bark. Yeah, when I harvested these, like a big chunk of the tree just came with them. So, anywho, we're just tearing these up and we're gonna roast them in the oven. And I found with these oyster mushrooms, if you roast them in the oven, they kind of get a little bit chewy and meaty. So that's what inspired me to come up with this recipe. So if you like recipes and foraging and houseplant and gardening type content, and you are new to this channel, you just happen to fall across this channel, you should subscribe, hit the notification button, and you should also follow me on Instagram at It's Nancy Plants, and I'll link that down below. I post on Instagram pretty regularly with pictures of my meals and meal ideas and plants and foraging and all that kind of fun stuff. So now that I've plugged myself, we're continuing to get all the mushrooms ready to go into the oven and tearing them up into roughly the same size pieces. And these are just absolutely beautiful. So ready, you're going to preheat your oven to 375. That's kind of my go-to temperature. And we're going to put these onto a baking sheet and kind of spread them out. We're also going to be adding about half of an onion, just cut real thick. And if you have peppers, you can put those too. Drizzle some olive oil, salt, and pepper. And we're gonna just massage that in. And make sure that everything is, fairly evenly coated, and then do weird things with your fingers. Yeah. And after about 10 or 15 minutes, it'll start to kind of brown. See, it's starting to look kind of steak-like, right? Stir it up, put it back in, and I got this homemade bread. I'm gonna get 2 big slices of this homemade bread to make my sandwich. One of the things I learned to do during the pandemic is how to make homemade bread. And if you want me to make a video about that, I would be happy to do that. Let me know. So once your mushrooms have kind of gotten nice and brown and delicious looking, we're going to get some steak sauce. This is a chipotle steak sauce that I just happen to have. I want to use it all up for this recipe. But you can use regular steak sauce too. And pretty much every steak sauce that I have found is vegan. So the steak sauce is vegan. The steak made from beef is not vegan. So you can just get your favorite brand. I think A1 is vegan. Most store brand steak sauces are vegan. And this one is a chipotle one. And that one was also vegan. I'm going to add my favorite kind of vegan cheese, which is the Miyoko's. And I got these cheddar shreds. And oh my God, they are so, so good. So I'm sprinkling that over the mushrooms as well. And I'm going to also put my bread on the baking sheet to toast it. So we're going to stick this back in the oven and broil it on low. And I'm just going to keep my eyes and nostrils open, and when it smells like the cheese is melted and it looks really good, then I'm going to take it out of the oven and it's going to look all yummy. So I got some Hellmann's vegan mayo. Use whatever vegan mayo you like, or if you don't like mayo, just don't use the mayo. And we're going to slap that all over the bread to make a nice, yummy sandwich. And on top of that, we're going to be putting our mushrooms and vegan cheese and onions that are all slathered in that delicious steak sauce. This is a pretty simple recipe, guys. It takes a little bit of time, yes, but most of that time is just stuff cooking and chilling out in the oven. So this is a pretty easy recipe. Oh, another thing is mushrooms aren't really like a great source of protein. So just keep that in mind. But you can definitely have like something with it, like a side of baked beans or whatever. Or you can just be like me and just eat randomly all day long. Here is some more steak sauce going over the top. I'm just using the rest of it up. And we're going to slap mayo on the other side of the bread. And then we're going to think way too hard as to what direction this bread's supposed to go. Does it go this way? Does it go the other way? I don't know. Just make a commitment, and then you're going to cut open your sandwich. You don't have to cut it, but I recommend it. And that is it. So this is a pretty delicious way to use up some of those oyster mushrooms that you've been foraging that you have way too many of. And it tastes really good. Yeah. So if you like this, subscribe, right? Subscribe. How many times am I going to say this in this video? Like 15? Let's count.